Hey, what's up everybody? It's Joe from Gadgetry Tech, and today we're going to talk about the Saramonic BlinkMe Mic B2+. This is a rather affordable content creator microphone system. I'm going to get into kind of all the specs and what you would typically use it for, but if you saw the title, there's also some other cool tricks and perks to owning a system like this that I'll cover later in the review, and there are chapters below to navigate that. If you are seriously considering getting this based off what I'm going to say with the PlayStation stuff, or just in general, I do recommend trying to watch it for the first time, start to finish, just so you can understand how it works and, you know, make an informed decision. So Saramonic did send this to me for review. Won't affect what I say about it. I have no monetary exchange with them. I have no affiliate links. I don't ask for those, and if companies ever offer it, I reject it. I don't do this to sell more products to make more money. I just do this because I like this stuff and want to help you make an informed decision. So I just want to disclose that. Now, the 500 B2 Plus was just announced. This was just released, and it sells for $130. To cover the basics, it has two microphones. You can use either one or both at the same time, and we'll get into all the settings and configurations and what you can do. This case, by the way, that's included is also a charging case for the units themselves. You can see a little USB-C port in the back here, and when I plug these in, so let's plug this guy in. You can see here in a moment, there's a status light in the front. This will indicate how much charge is left in the case itself, because you can effectively double your battery life if you top it off. I think it's like 1.5 charges based off the case itself. The transmitters are good for about 22 hours, and the receiver is good for 14 hours on a single charge. They do have their own USB-C ports, so you can charge them individually if you don't have the case with you, and so does the receiver on the back. Of course, if you have this charged, it comes with a single USB-C cable, so you can use that. Now, it does come with a Lightning and USB-C adapter, and that does add or connect to this because this is also designed to work with iPhones, Android devices, tablets, etc., in addition to the analog cable connection, so you can use USB as a method to connect. Now, how content creators typically use stuff like this is they just slide it into the camera, and then it's all secure. Normally I just fly through this, and of course I'm struggling now. So now it's mounted. Now I'm gonna open up this bag because there's a couple things I want to point out here. So one, the windscreens that are included, it comes with two obviously because there's two mics. They shed a little bit at first, so you know, if you're using it for the first time, maybe shake them off or whatever, get the loose fuzzies off. It comes with a short USB A to C cable, so you can charge the case, which obviously with one cable, if you don't have the case, you can only charge one at a time. Comes with the standard TRS cable, which is basically going to work in this camera application. I'll connect that in a moment. But it also comes with the gray plug, which is TRRS. So if you have something that has a combo jack that you want the microphone to work for, you know, if you're not using the USB connection, if you will, or the Lightning connection, but you still want to feed this into a device that's capturing with a combo port, you would switch to that. And the applications are kind of specific, so I don't want to get into that too much and add confusion. The traditional cable is the all black one. Now you have two outputs on the side of the unit. You have a headphone jack, which is a little bit louder than the left, but they are both real-time monitoring, and they both kind of mirror each other as far as audio settings go. So all I have to do is plug this into my camera, and now by doing so, I bypass the internal microphone of this camera, which is garbage on any camera. So even if you got a inexpensive mic system, honestly like 50 to 70 bucks, it is a significant upgrade to anything built into a camera. Now the advantage to these systems is it puts the microphone closer to your mouth. If you don't have the flexibility of a studio with a fixed microphone, the closer you get the microphone to your voice without either being a nuisance, like you don't want to see a giant mic hanging in front of the camera the whole time, that gets distracting. So I get it as close as I can. This basically puts it right here, so when you're talking, it's in a good proximity to your mouth. And therefore, with the right gain settings, it helps reject some other noise versus a mic that's way off in the distance and turned up. You're gonna hear all the other stuff around you just as much. So it's nice to have something convenient like that. Now, there are a few pros and cons to this design, and I wanna talk about how this system works. So most people, like the older Rode Go system, they only have a single clip. Now this was kind of a pain because I'm not wearing a shirt with buttons, and I used to have to wear polos just because I would clip it like this. which then puts the microphone on the side. It's a really weird design, so it made this microphone effectively useless for me. I never really used it. Now this system has the option to connect a lavalier mic or a lav mic, and which increases your price further. I will do a mic test for internal to internal, but that is typically a little bit more expensive setup once you factor that in. This system, the Blink500, does not support a lav mic. More expensive and different Saramonic models do, so if you really need that and you just want to clip this on your belt, you can do that, but there is a really cool trick that's included, and at this price range, I'm really happy about this. It's something so simple, but paramount for me for keeping costs down. So this is a magnet system that allows you to put it on your shirt wherever you want and not have to put a hole through it, not have any weird wrinkles on your shirt. You literally just put the magnet there, and look at that. And of course, yeah, that's a little bit better. I clipped it at the very bottom edge. So now I can place it in an ideal spot. And typically you don't want it too close, because if I'm looking up and then I look down, if my mouth is right on the microphone, you have a drastic swing in volume. So you want it pointing towards your mouth, or at least slightly off angle, and not so close that moving your head is going to make a massive difference in sound. But as you can see with the magnet system, I don't have to wear the right shirt anymore. I can place this wherever I want, and it's super convenient. Now, the only thing I'm not crazy about with this design is the clip system, because on the Rode mics, the Rodes fit the hot shoe of anything, which means you have a lot of accessories, this will slide right in. This is a little bit thicker, and as a result, it didn't fit. Case in point, when I used the Saramonic BlinkMe system last year for my tour of Axpona, I just slid it into this, and then I had like a handheld for doing interviews. And the Rode systems, I mean, this is meant for Rode, but my Saramonic BlinkMe system worked too. So you can see the convenience of that. Saramonic does sell a stick like this if you want that. That's designed for their clips, but I wish it was more universal just so I can use whatever I wanted. The other thing I want to point out with the windscreens, they don't really fit in the case. So once you clip these things on, which is relatively straightforward, you can see the two little clips there. Just press it in. It'll take a sec just to kind of line up. There we go. Now it's attached. However, when I put it in the case, I can't close it anymore. So you have to pop them off and either tuck one in or use the pouch. So I wish there was some provisioning for that to work. These magnets like to stick to everything. But you would use these obviously if you're outdoors and there's wind that you're contending with. If you're a mouth breather and you look at the mic all the time, that's going to create something called plosives, and you don't want those strong P's affecting the microphone either. You can fix certain things in EQ, like add more bass to your voice. You can add more airiness if your voice sounds muffled, which a windscreen is going to reduce the airiness or treble a little bit in your voice. For some people, that's actually a benefit. But that's easier to EQ than a pop or heavy distortion or wind noise. That's always a problem with these. So it's nice that it's included. Again, considering the price range, $130, that's great. And this, like I said, that's a pretty straightforward setup. All right, so I want to talk about the features that go beyond like the basic specs and what's included and stuff like that. So it's advertised as a 3-in-1 system. It's designed to work on a camera. It's designed to work as a wireless system, obviously, on your shirt. But you can also use it in these USB configurations that bypass the analog one completely. And this is where it comes in handy, because if you're trying to create content on a budget and you have a camera for your home studio, but then you want to go out and do a vlog or record something for yourself, these handy little adapters clip in. Now all I had to do was kind of slide this piece out underneath to expose the pins, and you can see those same pins are on this plug. All I have to do is slide this little guy in right here. It locks in, and now I have it set up for my iPhone to do all of my recording. It's a pretty handy little setup because it's flexible enough where I don't have to buy different things for each product. You know, I have one for my phone. This will work with an Android device, a tablet, you name it. And this is where it gets really cool. So I'm going to talk about this more in a moment. But this USB-C jack, not only does it work on the Android stuff, it works on freaking PlayStation, which is really, really cool. So I want to talk about how the controls work real quick. The transmitters are super easy. Green indicates that I'm in noise cancellation mode or noise reduction mode. And if I press this blue button right here, it's going to blink to blue. If I press the power button, I'm actually going to mute the device, and you can see like a blinking red light. That tells me that the microphone's not working. And you will see on here that it's muted. If I tap it again, the mute is going to come off. And now it shows my signal gain, and we're back up and running, and it shows me talking here. Now these levels are a little hot for how loud I'm talking. We can adjust that gain, and we'll do that here after. You can disable the mute. So I want to talk about the transmitter. You can't turn off these lights. So if you have this on, again, it's a little bit more affordable unit. Some of the higher end stuff, you can disable the lights on it. It's blue when it's on, it's green when it's on noise reduction, and it's red when it's muted. And that's the way it comes. So if you don't want to ever see a light, maybe conceal the unit a little bit better if that's an issue or not. If the mute idea scares you because you don't want to accidentally mute yourself in the field, you can turn off the mute function with the receiver. So let's go through the settings real quick. And I have two buttons on the right hand side here. I have the M button and the power button. They both help with on-screen adjustments here. And if I tap the front one, I can start by changing the output volume. Now this goes from 0 to 6, and then I can press the M button to increase until I go back to 0 again. This is affecting how loud the headphone out and the line out is, and the headphone out is slightly louder than the line out. So they both increase and decrease with that same one setting. It's just louder here. So if I tap that button again, I'm going to go to the gain. This is the microphone gain for the left channel or the A channel. And again, I can step this all the way up to +9. And one more tap is going to go to -6. So you have a bit of adjustment here on your gain levels. Make sure you're dialing this in. If you're using it in stereo recording especially, set different gains for the person's voice. Maybe one person is, louder than the other, but give yourself a little bit of headroom so you don't have any distortion. And then, of course, we can adjust the right channel. Now, if I tap the menu button, this is where I go through all the advanced settings. Right now I'm set in mono, which you have the M in the top right corner. I can press and hold and switch it to stereo, which will give you your left and right track separately. So channel A is your left track, channel B is your right. This is really helpful if you have two different voices and you want to make some extra adjustments in post-production. You can split each mic to its own side. You also have a safety track which reduces the volume on the right channel output. So if you're recording to a stereo field recorder, for example, the left channel combines both microphones at a louder volume, and the right channel are the same two microphones again, but both of them at a lower volume, which gives you more overhead so you don't have to deal with potential clipping issues. So I'm going to go back into that setting, and because I didn't change anything, we're back to the original one. That's usually what I leave it to. Let's go to output volume. This is the same thing as what you see at the top of the screen, so you can go through the same amount. Then you have noise reduction, which is pretty self-explanatory. Basically, if you press the NR button on one of the units, the light turns green. That means it's using this noise reduction profile, which if I press and hold is either set to weak or strong. So you can kind of pick what you think you need. I usually leave it on strong for how I've been using it. So let's set that back to strong by pressing and holding. Then I'll tap. So the TX mute key, I was telling you about this earlier. If you're concerned with accidentally muting yourself and disabling the mic, you can actually disable this in the settings, and it's real time. So watch how seamless this is. Now if I press the button, the mute does not function anymore. So that's a good way to ensure you don't have any mistakes in your production side. Switching over to low cut. So you have a 150 hertz roll off, which is going to impact your vocals a little bit. It's going to have a little bit less bass to them. So keep that in mind. You have the option to disable low cut altogether or set it to 75 hertz. For most things, as long as you're not using this to record like instruments where bass is important or music, if you're just using it for voices, then I would recommend at least using the 75 hertz because it's going to help get rid of some of the handling noise if it's clipped to a shirt, a handheld, resting on the table, etc. It's really difficult to fix that in post-production if you're recording those vibrations. So let's go back to speaker. Speaker enable is more like if you're on a USB-C connection to a tablet, you can use that to play the sound for audio monitoring in real time. This didn't really work for me on my iPhone, but that is an option to enable. If you enable or disable this, it power cycles this unit and boots back up with that parameter set. Backlight on is basically this screen will never turn off while this system is powered on. And this can run for hours at a time even if you're not recording because it doesn't know if you're recording or not. So if you want to save some battery life because you don't care about monitoring the volume level or clipping, you can set it to 10 seconds, 30, 60 seconds, or back to on. Language, English, you have a few to choose from just to show you have English, and that is about it, English and Chinese. So let's go to the next one, restore default, no. Pairing, no, we don't need to pair it right now. And then what firmware version you're running, and we're back to the home screen. Just press the power button up top to return to normal. All right, so now I'm talking to you on the Blink500 B2 Plus with noise reduction off with the gain set to +2 on my iPhone. I'm just using the Voice Memos app. I'm not doing anything crazy, and as you can see, this is the distance from the microphone to my mouth. If I look down, my voice is going to get louder because now I'm projecting more at the microphone. However, you're obviously not going to talk like this, so factor in your gain for how you would normally be talking. And now I just turned noise reduction on, and this is the difference you would hear with sound quality. There is a little bit of a difference of background noise rejection. It does also help with preventing wind noise. So I'm just gonna slide my hand across the table, do a couple tapping sounds, and then I'll turn noise reduction back off and do the same thing. So that's the difference. It's pretty mild, but you can obviously kind of play around with it. Your settings are always going to be unique, so make sure you dial everything into what you think sounds the best for your environment and configuration. And now I'm talking to you directly plugged into the camera. Noise reduction is off. I'm not using my field recorder. This is literally just plugged into the body of the Sony camera I'm filming with, and the output gain is set to 0. I'm not boosting it in any way. So I'm going to turn noise rejection or reduction on. Now I have the green light, and this is what it sounds like with the noise reduction enabled. All right, now I'm talking to you on the Rode Wireless Go. It's not clipped to my shirt because, frankly, I can't clip it and face the microphone at the same way. So I'm trying to carefully hold it and talk at a similar volume just so you could hear the tonality difference. The Rode system is an excellent microphone system. It's just much more limited in features, at least in a comparable price range, but I did want to give you a sound comparison just in case. All right, now I want to talk about something that got me so excited about this and why I think this could actually sell quite well for people that didn't know they wanted this. And that is you can use this microphone system as I'm wearing it on PS5. Now, I know some people may not be crazy about the idea of clipping something to your shirt. You can get creative with how you mount it, but this is typically going to sound the best. The wireless range of this system is ridiculous. They rate it up to 150 meters. I was able to go outside of the back of my house. This is over 100 feet away from the camera, through several walls, out my sliding door, and I hit like the fence line, and I was still getting a signal on my PlayStation, which is even farther away than the camera is, towards this wall to my right. So the range is insane. You already heard the sound quality of it, and it sounds excellent on PlayStation. It's loud, it's crisp, and the PlayStation is going to do its own voice processing anyway as far as like noise reduction and all this other stuff. So it's not going to sound any different than a traditional wireless headset with a decent microphone, in my opinion. The kicker thing with this, or the killer thing with this, is now you can use any IEM you want. You can use any headphone you want. I've been using the 490 Pro lately just because it's comfortable, and I have some of my favorite IEMs I use for gaming. And there's the Antlion Kimura system, which I like a lot. It's, you know, on the little bit more expensive side. It's over $50, but that requires you to change your IEMs. If you're like me, I play with a lot of different products. So as much as I love the Kimura system, it basically only stays on one IEM, and I don't often switch them. I ended up getting a second one because I used it enough. This allows me to use any IEM I want interchangeably, plug it into my PlayStation controller, plug it in directly to a headphone amp, whether I'm using something designed for the PS5 to get more sound out of it. You know, JDS's new Atom DAC and amp, that supports PS5, so you can get much more power. The shit audio products with UAC 1 support. You can connect a very robust, powerful amp to your PS5. Listen to audiophile stuff. I mean, I have the LCD XC over there, ZMF, the HD100 S, all these amazing products, and I now can still talk to my friends as if I have like a good gaming headset mic. I was talking about the mic mute feature before. This is why I left it on. I can tap it, so if I need to mute myself to talk to someone in the house, I want to go grab a drink or whatever, I can just press this, leave all my stuff there, and go walk away, and then come back and press it to unmute myself again. It's so cool. And for those of you who have several audio products that you love plugging into your PS5, but you don't like your chat solution because you're not playing PS5 at a desk where you can hook up like a normal microphone, if you're a couch gamer but you still want premium sound, this is like a whole nother world that I don't think people realize is possible. It clips right into the front of the PS5. It even allows you to use the USB-C or USB-A port to charge a controller. If you have a Pro version, then yes, that will free up the other USB-C port next to it. So that flexibility is just absolutely massive. And hell, the fact that it has, you don't want to use the save track, by the way, because that'll sound kind of weird. Just set it to mono. But if you do it in stereo mode, or if you leave it in mono and have both microphones turned on, now you can give the mic to someone else and they can trash talk people during the game and just confuse the ever-living hell out of people playing with you. So there's a lot of like fun things you can do with this. I really think that's a hidden gem feature, and honestly, because I have the more expensive BlinkMe system that I use for my field work when I travel, this is going to be my microphone setup for my PS5 when I'm couch gaming, because I can change stuff all the time and still chat with my friends. They'll have no clue I'm testing out gear, and I absolutely love that. The magnet system makes it easy. Obviously, you have 2 magnets, so they're a little smaller, so be careful not to lose it. And in an emergency situation, just clip it on your shirt anyway. The clips are already fixed to the unit, so they won't go anywhere. So that is the Saramonic BlinkMe B2 Plus. It's $130. I'll have links in the description below to help you find it. Again, purchase it wherever you want. I'm not doing this to force you to buy anything, but I definitely think there's some cool things that makes this product pretty special in this price. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd love to see you at the next video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.